In the world of witchcraft, my physical appearance from my hips downwards was like a snake. It was a snake's tail all the way down. I had 4 eyes on my forehead, 4 at the back, and I had 2, 1 eye in my palm and another in my hand. I also had what you call them cones. My hair was natural hair, but hair that was like poison. And just like in my situation, I had a snake's tongue, meaning that physically and in the spiritual world, the person who saw me, the tongue I had, it was a snake's tongue. When people prayed, the churches prayed, it was like reminders of the meaning. But because of the veil, it didn't rise. The veil blocked it. Sometimes when I can tell the auctioneer, you know, what comes down, who wants to come down from the filth, it's like showers of dew. But because of the veil, again, it didn't come down. And sometimes there were waves coming down. I saw waves coming down, stretching the veil. But because of the heart, they practiced the deployment. That's why we say the deployment is physical. And it's also in the heart. It's also in the behavior. Because of their behavior, meaning they didn't wear hair extensions, vinyls, or ointments, but because of the other things, the resentment, the wickedness, the strife. Because of that, we were able to work as we wanted. Really, my appearance, my eyes, there were ropes on my body, marks, signs, lots of demonic things on myself. So that's how it is. I hadn't said anything, and when I confessed, every time I would have been freed, I made my report well, because I did my report. On the 5th day, the first prayer, I told the Lord that, Lord, these people are going into the room. I want the first prayer to deliver me completely. I don't want to leave the room with the spirit. And when I entered the room, the Lord of God who had come to find me said that the Lord had led him to me. When he saw me, it was like a flash. The Lord had directed him to me as we were going. We started to pray. While we were praying, I saw many things. I saw that my aunt, my mom's aunt, who had passed away the previous year, was incarnated in me. It was the representation of the spirit of witchcraft because she was at a level, she was a deity. So I saw her coming out and the petanque fleeing, coming out of my body. I was wearing common clothes, the clothes of a fetishist, which I saw as torn. Smoke was coming out of my mouth. My powers were gone. There was blood flowing over me, but the blood only had to break, shatter my eyes, remove everything, erase the signs. Many things happened. And afterwards, I saw myself. I was lying down. And I myself was dressed in a pretty white dress that flowed from my head down to the soles of my feet. It was at the army of prayer and deliverance that the Lord completely delivered me. He delivered me from several spirits, the spirit of Python or witchcraft, the mermaid of the waters, the queen of earth, demons, even the warrior spirit, to help himself to a level I didn't even know. But the Lord, by his grace, has completely freed me. And there where I tell you, I am free, I am delivered, and I feel a joy that I have never felt since my birth. When we talk about deployment, it is true and it is sincere. And not just physical disentanglement, but also disentanglement on the inside. Because when you disentangle yourself physically, if you don't disentangle yourself on the inside, a witch, a way of shooting into the bones, can still involve you. Because it's not just about untangling the physical, but also untangling the heart. Anger is a very, very powerful soul. In the world of witchcraft, in the world of the water mermaid, it is a very powerful soul. The only time you put your hands on your head, it's as if you are giving permission to the mermaid of the waters to enter your life. All the people who use ointments, perfumes, even those who go in front of every store selling ointments, perfumes, hair extensions, and nail polish, there is a mermaid standing there, and she is the one who attracts the customers. When I walked past the stores, all the ointment stores I saw mermaids that were stopped. The mermaids that were stopped. And it is she, spiritually, who attracted the women. It is she who attracted the people. If you see a store selling ointments or perfume that is very successful, it means there are even mermaids there. There are sirens there, and they are the ones who attract the customers, making them buy what they sell. The only one who can save, who can set him free, is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He is the only one who can deliver him. God also created us, my brothers, my sisters, all the people who are watching us, who will watch this testimony. This is a message for you to teach you. When the Lord created us, He did not put, if He wanted us to have long hair, He would have given it to us because He is the God who can do everything. If He also wanted us to have colored hair, He would have given it to us. If He wanted us to wear heels to be above, He would have given them to us. But if He didn't give them to us, it's because He loves us as we are. But every time you put on hair extensions to torment your body, to recognize yourself for your spiritual aspect, you change. When you die, the Lord will not recognize you because that is not how He created you. This is not how He created you. All the women who are moving around, please stop doing it. Don't forget to do it. Because when you depigment yourself, you change your role, the world turns on you, and you become another person. The world of witchcraft and the mermaid of the seals truly exists. Give your life to Jesus. He is the only one who can free you from that spirit. When you sell even ointments, perfumes, vinyls, all that, you are the money, you work for the mermaid, but you don't know. Many women who sell ointments and brushes make themselves into mermaids and costumes, but they don't know. In the world of others, they have neither mermaids nor just fish, but they don't know. Hallelujah, I am Hero Legion's sister. Thanks to thy hair, I was delivered from the spirit, from witchcraft, from the memories of others, and from several other spirits. In the world of witchcraft, my physical appearance changed from my nails downwards. It was like a snake. It was a snake's tail all the way down. I had 4 eyes on my forehead, 4 on the back, and 2, one eye in my palm and another in my hand. I also had, as they call it, cones. My hair was natural hair, but hair that was like poison. And as in the situation, I had a snake's tongue. In the spiritual world, the person who saw me, the tongue I had, it was a snake's tongue. So I am actually just going to explain a bit how I worked in the world of witchcraft. In the world of witchcraft, first, I was initiated by my aunt, my mom's younger sister. First, he dedicated me to the world of witchcraft. When he consecrated me, it was from the moment I was a baby in my mother's womb. He consecrated me. And it was for him that from the age of 6 to 9, I would practice unconscious witchcraft. And when I was born at 6 years old, it was detected. I practiced unconscious witchcraft until the age of 9. This is what the Lord revealed, but my mom didn't believe it. At the age of 9, I would wake up at night, the day I realized that I was practicing witchcraft. It was a night when Mom had prepared food and it wasn't enough. I was unhappy, saying that I wanted to eat more. And Mom told me that no, food was not enough. When I was in middle school, I would go to bed with resentment. When I lie down at night, it's not a sound, but I feel like I have left my body. I am standing in the house and I see my aunt who is next to me, and she said to me, "Welcome." I was happy. I didn't understand what was happening. So she said to me, "Come, let's go." She had a black coat, like a black boo-boo, very black and grimy. And when she moved her arms like this, it was like wings. The eyes of a black man, very wide, and she carried me like this, like a child, and we flew away. She carried me, and we flew away. We arrived in our village, on my mother's side. We arrived there, in front of the family courtyard. When we got there, we started by talking. She made me understand that Mom didn't love me. My brothers and sisters, Mom only loved my brothers and sisters, because me, my father had abandoned me. He had gotten Mom pregnant, and then abandoned me. I had harbored a hatred, an anger against my half-brothers, a jealousy. But when she said that, the hatred started to rise. I hated her. And I told him, but why are you bringing me here? What's the point? It's been almost an hour and people are just standing around. But in the coming days, you and I will meet and we will talk. And as the days went by, each time they would come to get me, we would go and talk, we talked. And then at least one night grew where I hated my family, I hated everyone around me. And one night again, I saw her again, it was the rendezvous. The rendezvous was at midnight. Every midnight, as soon as it was midnight, she would come at the same time. So at midnight, when she came, the last time I saw her, when she came. We even brought a seer to the village. But when we went to the village, it wasn't like usual when we left. The village had sunk. There were no more houses around. It was a tree that was planted in the center of the village, and the foliage, the branches still made an umbrella. It was big. It covered the whole village entirely. And we were sitting there. There was a throne. There were skulls of people who had died. skulls of others, even if they were skulls of people, brains of people who were still alive. There, they were used as stools. There was the tomb of my mother, who was the queen. She was sitting on the throne. Over there, she had horns. She was entirely a snake. She could transform as she wished. She takes on the appearance of the snake. She is human, but she takes on her youthful appearance. In real life, she was old, but she had hooves there. When I arrived there was the throne. Blood was everywhere. I saw people. I recognized from my family. There was my grandfather's forest. There was my aunt. There was me. And there were 2 children from the village. When we arrived, they were all happy. Over there, as I was saying, the branches were like an umbrella, covering the entire village. And there were skulls. There was a fire, like a campfire, in the middle. And everyone was seated. There were bones, buttocks. They had collected. And when I arrived at the visitor, they said, Mom's aunt said, welcome, here is the rising room. And me, being curious, I asked, but why do you say that? She said that no, it was you we were waiting for, that for years, the mission I live for, the mission I set for myself, you are the one who can accomplish it. And at first I said, okay. She gave me a dish. When she gave me a dish, long before I arrived, my aunt had given me a dish of futu, seed sauce, and meat. In the spiritual world, futu is human flesh, sauce grain is human blood, and the meat is human hunger. That's how my initiation was. And when I finished eating, I could already see. When we got there, my aunt, who first took that path, the tour of the Camps River. When they say that the son of Seth is the number of perfection, it's real. This faith was made to mark my presence, to say that I am now part of the believer, now part of the brotherhood, and that she has consecrated me. They have such implications, but she has consecrated me to the spirit of the snake. That is to say, I can transform into any snake I want. I had a healthy tongue. I transform my tongue into a snake's tongue. That is to say, when I speak, thousands of people get angry. Everything I say has an impact, and it's always negative. And when I was consecrated now, my aunt returned to our home. She gathered my clothes. When she was gathering, she took everything. When she returned to the group, Mom's tent was tearing her apart. She took some blood and marked her. Then on top of it, it formed my coat. When I wore it, a power entered me. It was like spirits, demons that entered me now. I saw them, I spoke to them. And when she did that, she took some more blood. She drew. At first, she only gave me 3 eyes because I had just entered. She made 1 in the middle of my forehead and 2 behind because I had just entered. And when she wore the coat, she approached me. Through her mouth, she blew like smoke. The smoke was my power, and the breath also in my eyes. My eyes were my power. When I enchanted the food, I used my thoughts. That is to say, I fix my eyes on the food, and in my head, I imagine what I want the food to become, and it happens. That's how I enchanted the food. And when my initiation was over, my name there, the humanization completed, gave me the mantle and all the powers. It told me, from now on, you will be called destruction. Destruction means the one who spoils everything, who destroys everything. You're only there to wreck, to annihilate. I said, okay, because I now had the power. I liked what was happening. And the meeting started. She asked me what was happening at home. I explained the resentment I felt. She told me that my first mission would be to open the doors. The doors, it's very simple, through anger, through the flow, simply through the flow. They had given me a zipped tongue, so whatever I said, anyone could get into the flow. So the meeting ended, we ate. There were dogs there, demonic dogs really. Satanic, and at 3 a.m., everyone returns. Every practitioner of witchcraft must come back. When they go to a meeting, they must return to their body exactly at 3 a.m. If you are too late, you must return before the sun rises. Because when the sun rises and you stay outside, as it was personally said, you die, you won't be able to return to your body. And so at 3 a.m., I returned to my body. When I turned around, I could see them now. I could hear the voices. First, he told me to place the cameras in the house. The cameras in the house, it was first through the cobwebs. The cobwebs, there were photos. All the photos of Jesus, the people who believed in Jesus, the photos of death. It was like cameras in the house. And I connected with the word. With words, I consecrated my mom's clothes and the house accessories. I implanted words on them and said that through these clothes, We would monitor the house 24/7. And everything I said had an impact. That I saw them entering the house and asking me to provoke this person, to provoke that person. And I started putting my mom, my dad, and my mom's husband in college. I put everyone in college, and they entered the house. It was like when I put people in high school, my mom in high school, it was like the door to the house was no longer closed. The door was open, and they could enter everywhere as they wanted when they entered. First, I have to transform to scare the children, to create disorder in the house. And me, my mission was that, but my real mission at first, when I started, was to destroy the lives of my little brothers because I hated them, because I said that mom loved them more than me. In the first mission I did, I was asked, but you just entered the conflict. What did you do first? What mission did you accomplish? And when I had that demonic spirit without medicine, I said it was going to take my little sister's brain. And I was given a canary. Her aunt gave me a canary. She said, if you get it back, that's where you're going to put it. We have a python. 2, in our village, every family has one. So our python, I went to him. He gave me a bit of his resentment with the blood of people we had gathered and some waste. When I took it, in short, I went. It's like I put my hands in it. I confirmed words of curse on my sister's life, and I went home. When I arrived home, it was like my hand went into her head, and I put my hand in his head and retrieved his brain. When I retrieved it, I put it in the scanner they gave me. And this is where I brought it back to the village that gave it to my aunt, to my mother's aunt. And after that, my little brother, the second. Mission. In the spiritual world, it's like I did to my little brother. He captured his soul, and his soul there is represented as a grasshopper. Like a grasshopper, animals have a meaning. The grasshopper, the way the grasshopper turns, rolls, jumps, that's how from the age of 14. Currently, my little brother is still young. He is 3 years old. But from the age of 14, my little brother was supposed to become a thug, a delinquent, smoking, the delicate one. These were the words I had claimed for his entire life. After that, first, I continued to open the doors. I was a permanent agent of the house. I followed everything that was happening and went to report it. Gradually, I rose in rank because I was accomplishing missions. Now, I was asked to deliver my mom. It was the time when I was eating meat. It was now the time to give someone from my family. The first time there, he didn't take responsibility. There are human parts that you sign with blood. You sign that you deliver yourself or that you declare on heaven or earth. It's like symbols, delivering the person, and several times the first time they asked me, the first time I accepted. It was this time I had signed a human part. I took the blood and signed. I made signs, very strange signs, signs of the devil, and I signed. It was like an act of aid that proved I was delivering my mom. And the medicine makes it so that when I was at home, there at night, when they were going to come, I would spiritually get up and open the door for them to enter. At night, they couldn't pass through the resentment, but spiritually, I would get up from my body and open the door. But mom was praying tonight, and when she prayed, the prayer was so strong, spiritually, I couldn't act. It was like a fusion of my spirit, the spirit, and the physical. When I physically got up, my eyes were closed, and I was heading towards the door to physically open. And physically, I was going to open the door, and spiritually, they were going to enter. No one was going to see them, but they were going to enter. And when I got up, mom's husband had just entered. The seers could see it clearly. So he saw me. He knew what had happened. He woke mom up. Mom started praying. She prayed. When I moved forward, there was fire around the door. When she called my name, I couldn't hold back. I didn't hesitate to scream. When I forgot the door, someone had to come in. Today, she must die. It was towards the end of the year. I arrived in November. She was the one who was of spiritual symbolism. She was the one who was like the sheep. They were going to sweat you out to celebrate the end of the year. They were shouting, "Mom, it's a taken thing." So I couldn't. I was physically crying. I said, "No, I can't, that the fire there burns me, that you yourself go in. You'll see that there should be people. Why don't you go in? Just go in." They said, "That's how it is. They will pass." They said a word, but sooner or later, we'll get it. I want to point out that my mom over there was never called by her name. She hadn't been baptized yet. Her name was Jeanne d'Akeme. Over there, she was called the main spirit. That is to say, the spirit is the prohibition of saying or renouncing my mom's name. So when they left, In the morning I woke up. Mom knew what had happened. They asked questions. The Lord revealed that I was practicing association. That's when it was unveiled. When it was unveiled, we read about the pastor. Since I had the tongue of a snake, I lied in all my confessions. I did nothing but lie. I was sitting in front of the patient and I was leaving my body. I should clarify that. He made me like this. Someone who hears about it, the way it stops like that, he can leave. But it's not his soul that leaves. It's his spirit that goes away. Because if the soul leaves, it's like someone who is sleeping or who dies. It's the spirit that goes away. The spirit goes away. And so every time I was asked the question, my mind would wander. And because of my VIP tongue, I would build myself up. I never told the truth. I was getting worked up, saying things that had nothing to do with the truth. And every time I tried to get my deliverance, they refused. I would say yes to them, but deep down, they didn't want me to have my deliverance. And every time I rose, making my parents believe that I was delivered, they promoted me. At first, I was just a small one, there, with 50 voices to open doors. But eventually, I started to grow. I started to grow. And my mom, they moved. They arrived at another place. When they arrived at another place, I will continue to practice witchcraft. I started to lose my appetite last year. I began to cry from being sick. Over there, I was told that there was a red box that was given to me, meaning she was going to die. And when she was about to die, I was told that she was a diamond. And in the situation we had, it was like a diamond in my mom's hand. And when she was about to die, having become a diamond, I was going to put it in the box. And then I was going to keep it. So I started making my little sister sick, casting illnesses on her, calling spirits on her, casting illnesses. But sometimes it worked, she got sick, and sometimes it didn't. And since I was initiated by my aunt, at a time when my mom saw that the witchcraft didn't want to let go, she sent me to Abobo. In Abobo over there, my aunt was there. And when my aunt was there, the witchcraft said that we only bewitched the nocturnals. And there was my grandfather who raised me since my dad had left me, who raised me from a young age until I grew up. For years, long before I was born, since 1900, I don't know, they had caused an accident. And even now, the accident has left his foot rotten. That is to say, the wound has not yet healed. In the spiritual realm, every moment of witchcraft defecates on it. That's why the wound never heals. Even now, I'm telling you that the wound hasn't healed yet. She still appears. I was practicing in society. I kept ruining the work. Mom, every time she ruined it, she got a job. It's like in the spiritual world, I take blood, always blood, to be challenged and worship the snake. I put makeup on her face, I make words, I create a face, a girl's face or a cat's face. And maybe physically, his boss no longer sees a girl's or a cat's face, but he is repelled. He doesn't want to work with her. I was the one doing that. I destroyed all the jobs my mother had. I destroyed them all. I first tried to kill her husband. I separated them because he saw a lot. Every time they tasted, I attacked. They saw what was happening. So it was a threat. So I was sent to go kill him. As I said, my hair was like poison. So I took the hair extensions there, the bows there were bows, arrows. There were intestines of people that were collected, the bones of the intestines. And there I transformed them into bows and arrows. And I took my hair extensions, I put them in the campfire that is over there in our brotherhood. And I burned them. I put them at the tip of the arrow. The arrow, it had 3.6 at the edge, on the line there where we catch the dead crimes. That is to say, when I launched the arrow, it was destined to die. And when I shot the arrow, he saw me, the spiritual one saw me, and I still shot. It hit his right side. And when it took his right side, it became rotten until he died. But in the morning, he woke up and revealed this to my mom. By the grace of the Lord, he did not die. Marie, as in my prayer, I was able to attack her because her husband was an entry point. First, he was not living a sanctified life, meaning a life of sin. That is to say, he went to church, he had the gift of clairvoyance, but he did not live a sanctified life. And my mom too, she watched a lot of things. It was as if I could see into her heart. She was looking at many things in her heart. The resentment. There were things she hadn't yet let go of from the world. The lies. They lived in impurity. It was a powerful force. They lived in immorality. They were not yet married, but they continued to have intimate relations and have children. It was because of that, especially because of the indecency and indecent marriage. It was because of that that we always managed to attack. I always managed to attack, and her husband was choleric. Every time I said something bad, it made him angry. It was several doors opening, and that's how we managed to work, and as I said, I was in Bobo. The witchcraft, I was growing. My aunt and I practiced witchcraft once again. The Lord revealed it, but I did not want to be delivered. So I was sent from my aunt to the outfit because my mom couldn't afford it. She wasn't working since I had blocked everything, her finances, her husband too. Things weren't going well. In collaboration with his mom, who is currently still involved in witchcraft, we merged. That is to say, when you want to join, you want to work with another group of associates, your queen knows who leads the entire group you are working with, so she has to sign a pact to give you permission to work in this group. So my mom's aunt had signed a pact with my mom's husband's mom. So that's how I worked with her. So in collaboration with her, we closed her eyes while working like that. I grew up in witchcraft. Afterwards, I was sent to the coast to my aunt's place. I stayed there because my parents couldn't afford it. So I went there to continue my studies. When I need to leave, as I mentioned, I had clothes, household accessories, spider webs captured. I made cameras, satellites, so that even from a distance, even if I was in France where I am, I could know exactly what was happening in the house. So when I went to the hospital like that, I connected to the house. I looked at what was happening. I learned that my aunt, my mom, was going to get married. I went to other countries. I always went to the village to continue practicing witchcraft, the knots, visiting my mothers in Budjo. So I went to inform my mom's aunt that my mom is going to have her wedding. Since I was entrusted with the mission to oversee it, I told her, and she stomped her foot 3 times like this, 3 times, and she cried out to the sky. She said that as long as she lives there, my mom will never get married. I'm telling you, up until now, mom had the wedding, but didn't pay the bride price. This means that the bride price is of very high value because mom had the wedding, but she didn't pay the bride price. Explicitly, I had the ability to read in the eyes. I was reading the stars. When the branches were removed, which acted like an umbrella above us, I had the stars of each family. That is to say, when you take a grandfather like that, his child up to the light, you can read the stars. For the other, they read the stars like that. But mom's stars were spread apart. The star was not in his lineage. The star was set aside, and over there it was called the main spirit. So when I announced that she had to get married, when my aunt passed away, when my watch got married, she didn't take her dose. And so when mom, strangely, got married, didn't do the dose, I was at the coast, I kept reciting. Over there too, I practiced witchcraft. I attacked my aunt, made her children sick, and spoiled the food. And since the Lord wanted my deliverance there again, He revealed that I was practicing witchcraft. There, my aunt, she was not a woman, she was praying, she got scared. And so she brought me back to Abidjan. When she brought me back to Abidjan, my mom started to reject me, she abandoned me. And well before that, my aunt once sent me into the world of waters, because in our village we had a small lake, and in the world of waters we went underwater. When we went underwater, there were snakes and crocodiles. These were the things that in our village our parents worshipped, especially the snakes. When we entered, there was like a portal, a wall of water, and we went inside. When we went inside, we found ourselves directly in the sea, and there was the mermaid. The mermaid, the others here are on her throne. On her throne, there were shells around her, starfish, shells everywhere. And when we got there, strangely, she was happy to see me. And I didn't understand why. I already had the witchcraft, so it didn't scare me. When we came, I bowed before her. And she said to me, "Welcome, my daughter." I was happy because she had mystical beauty. She had a fishtail, there were mermaids and everything. And then she told me, "You will be a fatal soul." That's what she told me. She said I would be a fatal soul. And she took long hair extensions with shells. She blew into the shells. And she put it on my lower abdomen and my scooter. It's like a wind that entered. You could say that a bandage was put on my scooter. It's so heavy. And then she folded like an extra. She called upon the sirens. When she called upon the sirens, we had to focus on the sirens. I was supposed to have the fishtail cigarette, but she told me that for now, since I would be a fatal soul, I need to have some teaching first. First, a lesson on tactics, how to destabilize our classes, seduction, all that. I had to first learn about the world of sexuality, how to have relationships. They haven't given me the mermaid tail yet, but they have placed a deposit in me. She told me that what I have put in you, any person with any man you go out with, you will block his life. That means nothing will go well anymore. He will fail categorically, and you will easily recover that. When they give you your tail, it will become a snake, and you will gather the seeds. You will have pockets. Here, pockets. There, you will gather the seeds, and there are mermaids who will come to collect them to send them underwater. Down there underwater, it was like another world. There were factories. It was like factories. There was a place where they made perfumes, ointments, nail polishes, removers, hair extensions. Everything was there. It was like a business even. A business for two who come. When we arrived there, as we were arriving, there were sirens coming with seeds, and there were others who were already starting. They were starting to apply all that to the skin. In fact, all the artificial things that man puts on us mostly come from men's assurance. That's what the mermaids used to tamper with all that. When you put hair extensions on your head, it's snakes that you are putting on your head. They are snakes. The vinyls in the world of science, it's human sound that you hear from hand to hand like that. Even fake nails are the nails of the mermaid. All the fake nails are the nails of the mermaid, the fake targets. These are the targets that you put under you. That's where you put all those things. When the friend settles in me, I return to earth with my aunt. When I held back, I was still little, but every time I heard his voice teaching me how to see the reports, it was really... I don't know how to explain it, but it was really impulsive trials. My age, it wasn't really for having relationships with someone. It was weird teaching me about sex because she told me that my homeland had become like a snake. I was going to become a prostitute, not an official prostitute. But when I went to school, I would go to prostitute myself. I would go out with young people, even the teachers, to get average grades. And when I returned to Abidjan, my sister continued to manifest. She continued to manifest. And since mom saw that my case was becoming serious, she sent me to a prayer camp. I didn't want to go to Abidjan either. I didn't mention the name of the camp, but it wasn't a church. Because of my family's brotherhood and the brotherhood of my mom's church, I used to go there too. Because in my mom's church, I worked there too. My family and the church all had the same factors that allowed me to work there as well. There I was the sister of the children. That is to say, all the children who practiced witchcraft were like me. I was like the little queen. I was the one who ruled them. I was the one who managed them and all that. Over there, the primary mission was to block the graces of the church. They had placed a veil under the church, which made it so that when people prayed, the church prayed like vapors. But because of the veil, it didn't rise. The veil blocked it. Sometimes also, when I predict the reading, we don't know what will come down, what will descend by grace. It's like rain, like dew. But because of the veil again, it didn't come down. And sometimes there were angels who descended. We saw angels who descended, who destroyed the veil. But because of the hearts, they practiced stripping. That's why we say stripping away is physical. And it's also in the heart. It's also in the behavior. Because of their behavior, meaning they didn't wear hair extensions. Vinyls, ointments, because of their heart, their withdrawal, their society, their chicken. Because of that, we managed to work as we wanted. All the women who are in the church, the queen of the society's brotherhood, she had a python. So the python, when a woman is pregnant in the church, it stings the woman's belly. It transmits venom to the child that kills the child. And spiritually, she comes. She loses the woman's belly and she recites. The python wakes up and the python swallows the child. That's how we killed the children in the church. All the babies, we killed them. Others, we involved them in witchcraft. Others, they were aware. There was chaos in the church. There was the Lord, but because of the hearts, we managed to work. And I went from receiving alms in my family's courtyard. I went from being a slave, and now I have become a mission leader. That is to say, For all the missions that were carried out, I was the one who chose whom we would attack and who we would target. At the end of each year, when a sacrifice needs to be made, I am the one who takes the list of the entire family and controls the family. I am the one who decides who should die and when. And then, when I now know that all those people who were supposed to die, I would take that to the queen who was my mom's aunt. And when she approved, we would then attack. And like that, we would only consider it a serious matter, like before coming to a church. But in the church, we saw that the Lord was not there. When they gave me the genes, all the genes they gave me spiritually, I ate them. Physically, that's what I did. But spiritually, I wasn't there. My spirit wanders. The year I can love myself, my soul has left. I was going to visit my mom and I was dreaming. There was no Lord. There was nothing stopping me from doing what I wanted. That's how the witchcraft had reached a level where I could no longer control it. It had become wickedness. That is to say, everywhere at school I was spreading witchcraft. I was so influenced that I can say that the Lord did my work so deeply that I will not forget the name. Because it was really all the children I saw, I bewitched them, I bewitched them, I bewitched them, I bewitched them. And then Mom saw that I didn't want to let her suffer. So she sent me to my father's place. My father, who had left me, had now agreed to take me in. So when they sent me there, it was during the coronavirus period. I went to my father Jean Richard's place. Over there they practiced Buddhism. Half of them were straw covered and half practiced Buddhism. Buddhism is above the sorcerers, but it's like a union. The other group cannot stop the other group from working. It's like a family. When I arrived there, when my aunt, my grandmother, started doing the incantations that she believes are prayers, they were incantations she was doing. There are spirits, demons that have entered the house. Some would sit in the house, others would go on the roof, start talking, start putting up cameras, doing whatever they wanted in the house, bewitching the house. The house was surrounded by darkness, meaning there was no light in the house. It was only darkness. When I arrived, I went there. I had taken my mom's tickets. When I arrived, my aunt had passed away. Mom's aunt, who was the queen, passed away last year. When she died, she told the family's concrete, who is like the queen's friend, that if she dies, I should take her place as queen. And the hospital said, but she is not like the princess, because over there is the queen, there is the princess, and there is the mission leader just below. And he said that she is not like the princess, that one cannot become a queen, that there is something she has been expecting to work on for years to achieve. And she said, no, everything I couldn't accomplish over the years, she will accomplish in my place, because from a young age, Mom made this statement. She said that as long as she lives, Mom will never be happy and Mom must die. She is the one who recruits everyone. My mom must die. And since she didn't succeed in accomplishing that mission, she left me with the responsibility of becoming a queen so that she could fulfill the mission. And the python said, okay, since you chose her, there is no problem. But my aunt, the one who initiated me, was not happy. It became like chaos. First, for my aunt to die, every time she wants to die, it's as if she enters the upper room with the python. When she goes back there, she performs the incantations, the vein, and chooses a person she wants to die in her place. And when she goes, it's like she transforms the person's face, the nostrils, the eyes, the ears, the mouth, the whole body to look like her. And the spirit of death that he knew there, she performs incantations to call the spirit of death upon the person. This is another level of society. Not everyone is able to do it. When she performs those incantations, the spirit of death leaves her and goes to that person. But this woman, when she tried, it was the time the Lord had chosen for her to die. So she had done it. She had tried. But in the end, she died. And when she passed away, it was time to enthrone a new queen. And my aunt wanted to be the queen, which had become chaotic because the serpent had been given the mission to enthrone me as queen. And the sacrifice he asked me to make, that he asked me to deliver, because many times he asked me to deliver my death. Sometimes I accept, sometimes I don't accept. Many times I have accepted. Several times I accepted. When I went to attack and retrieve her soul, I could never do it. But that told me I have to take Mom's soul. I capture Mom's soul. He said that it is the ultimate sacrifice to access the royal place. And I said, okay, I will do it. And it was like I was leaving my mom. She had left her husband because the spiritual world was waiting for me. As for me, my aunt touched herself in the middle of their marital bed. That represented the separation. That's how we separated, my dad and my mom. So, mom went to live with her aunt. So my aunt wanting to become a saint, it became like chaos. It became like chaos. And the hospital told me to go, take my mom's soul, so I would leave and see my mom every time I left, either lying down or sitting, where we were praying and crying. And she always said these words, Lord, save my daughter. Lord, save my daughter. Lord, save my daughter. Every time she said those words, I felt a force leaving me. It was as if I was losing my powers and my bliss. And when I weakened, every time I returned, once I tried, my strength, my powers failed me. My strength failed me. And I held back. I said, it's so that I can attack them. Because how can I attack someone who cries out for me? But every time I go, my strength, all my powers cry out. I can't attack him, but still recognize me as a queen. And that's how he said no, that you will make a sacrifice before moving to another table. Before ascending to the throne, to the position of queen, you will make a sacrifice. And he said, no, I can't. I don't want to die there, because if I stay there, she might kill me. No, I don't want to. And that's how it stung me. It stung me with it. Those things, they move. They tell me, they came inside me. It makes black spots on my body. Deliverance will be when those spots are gone. When they applied the venom to me, they said, my brother, you are giving me sores. Sores, just until they grow. Just until I agreed to remove my mom. Because he was obliged to enthrone me as a brother. So, it became chaos. Chaos within the brotherhood. Since I refused, it happened during the Easter holidays. During the Easter break, I came for my sister. First for my dad. When I got there, we had the dowry. It was time for my dad to pay the bride price, the one who had abandoned me. It was time for him to pay the bride price with his new wife, on the day of the bride price. When I arrived there, first of all, I arrived with someone who practiced witchcraft, someone who practiced conscious witchcraft, who knew what he was doing, and I couldn't find anyone. And on the day of the dowry, the day when the dowry was given, the parents were coming from the village. And his brother arrived. When he arrived, physically he entered, but spiritually his body left. His body, his spirit left. His spirit wants to wander around the house. And him, we would meet at the door. When we met, we were happy. We created the two of us. At one point, we found someone to work with. So he said to me, you are his daughter. I said, yes, I am his daughter. First, when it happened, I saw my dad's hands were pierced. I didn't know what he had done, but I was happy to have also pierced my mom's hands. He told me that he was the one who pierced my dad's hands. It's like a big hole in his palms, in both of his palms. Every time money comes spiritually, it gets lost. He comes, he takes. It represents poverty, blockage, dryness in his life. In the future, we went to the village. When we went to the village, behind the family courtyard, I tell you that almost the entire family is taught. I can say the whole family, because there is no one who truly followed the Lord Jesus, the true God. There is no one who followed him. There were others. It was like classified, others who practiced association, and you can feel that there are children who came out, but they are chained there. There are others there. They were blocked. Over there, my brother was there, and there were the chained dishes. That means these dishes are chained. It represents that they cannot work, and that, depending on where the chains are, is a situation. If you are chained at the feet, it means that in your life, you cannot move forward. If you are chained at the hands, you cannot work. I had my brother who was chained. I had my father who was chained from his head to the soles of his feet. He couldn't even see his face because everything was chains. Everything was chains. And I asked my uncle, but who is there? Because I couldn't even see him. I asked, who is it? And when I asked who it was, he broke the chains. He untied the chains. When I untied him, I saw that it was my dad. And I had the spirit of Sophie, so I was happy. I told her, you did a good job. And I told him, but the alcohol he drinks, it's not natural. I know it's not natural. And he told me, yes, that the alcohol he drinks is my urine that he drinks. Every time he drinks, it's my urine that he is drinking. And that's when he told me that I need to come to school so that I can grow. But I said no, that I would wait a bit, because I will first ask for my queen's permission. Because it was still my aunt who was my superior there. My queen of chaos was still her. So I went to ask her with a sister if I could work with another group. And that's how we returned to the village. During the dowry, we tried to cancel it. I wanted to cancel the dowry, but he told me that even if he pays the dowry, once he gets married, it won't change anything in his life. Because if someone sees him spiritually as we do, the person will say for me that he should die halfway. Because the baby is in the system, he cannot move forward. He played in the mission leader, but nothing is going right in his life. Everything is blocked. It is these chains that bind him in the spiritual world. And I tried to destroy the marriage. But we only voted for the love of God because it had no meaning in our eyes. It hadn't changed anything in his life, so we left it. Then came my sister's marriage, my sister's dowry. In the same year, in the month of, I can say, well, April, like that, it was her dowry. When she came, she was putting on makeup for the dowry ceremony. While she was putting on makeup, she was talking on the phone with her husband since they were running late. And I heard that it was such an intersection. Since I wanted to cancel the dowry, I heard it was in Yupugong. I heard the intersection where they were. So when I heard spiritually, I went there. First I wanted to, since I had the strength within me, I had my mind healed. So spiritually, I had the strength in collaboration with that demon. So I wanted to push the way on him. Strangely, it wasn't working. I did everything, but it didn't work. So one of his friends was there. There were many, many demons in him. More than my sister's husband, more than my sister's husband. He was Muslim. There were spirits in him, but his friend was still. So it was him that I pushed the motorcycle. He was on a motorcycle. I pushed the motorcycle. He had an accident. The accident wasn't serious. It didn't go as I wanted. He fell as the police came. They conducted checks. It was for, that is to say, the time for that, because if they lasted, the parents would get angry. The parents are healed. They would get angry. They might leave because it was around 3 p.m. It was the mission, obviously, by the grace of the Lord, that they came, that they paid the dowry, that they tasted nature. Every time I bewitched the food, it was like someone came and removed it. In my mind, when I looked at the food, I transferred the food as if it were innate blood. Other men of innate blood, other men of flesh. Now, I see someone coming who takes the food, who clothes, and who gives more food again. I didn't understand. I was thinking, I couldn't see, and I decided to leave it as it was. And I went on Easter break. I found myself on Easter break. I was after my sister. First, I made my sister's children very sick. That is to say, I took bones in the spiritual world and struck my sister's son. In a small way, I struck. In the spiritual world, I broke his bones. This caused a bump physically. I hit, I broke his bones. This caused a physical bump. After all that, when I came to Bidjan, I returned to Yopougon. The first night I arrived, I was sleeping, and it's like I see fire. I close my eyes, I see fire, I see myself in the hand. I open my eyes, I see fire, I see myself in the hand. I say to myself, but ouch, what is this? It started to torment me. When I sleep, I close my eyes, I sleep. And when I was with my father, I felt like there was someone talking to me, telling me that you will go there, you will go there, you will go there, you will go there. And every time I heard that voice, I was so scared that I couldn't even sleep. When I lay down after 3 to 5 minutes, I would get up again because I was sleepy. I told myself I was breathing heavily. I breathed a sigh of relief. I said, oh God, thank you. I am not dead. I was afraid of death. I began to understand that if I didn't let go of witchcraft, I was going to die. But I didn't know who to approach, because where I lived, there were Buddhists, there were pagans. I wondered if I told them, would they believe me? Are you going to help me? I had lied so much to my mom on my maternal side. I had said so many times that I wanted to be delivered. I had destroyed my family's life so much. I thought they wouldn't accept me anymore because my mom had left me with my dad. And so I continued for 2 weeks. I saw myself in the fire. Every time I heard a voice telling me, that's where you're going to go. I heard a voice telling me, that's where you're going to go. Or another voice, the same voice telling me again, I did everything to take you out of this world. For how many years have I been trying, doing everything to pull you out of the world of witchcraft, but you don't want to. When are you going to listen to my voice? When are you going to listen to my voice? I didn't know who was talking to me, but I continue. The rest is me. The woman sees me asking, but why are you crying? You are not one of the few sick ones. I didn't say anything, but I saw myself in the fire. I was scared. And the second week of Saturday, it was so serious that I was so scared. I gathered my courage and called my mom. I told my mom that I'm going to deliver. I can barely speak because I was crying. I couldn't take it anymore. I see the fire. I just cry. And mom said, you will be delivered. I said, yes. And at night, she told me to leave, to go home, to pray. I prayed. Then I went to bed. And the next day, in the days that would follow, she would come, she would look for a prayer camp, and we were going to go for my deliverance. And at night, while I was at home, I was praying. I told him the Lord had come. I did not see, I did not hear his voice. He came down, his presence was around me. I started to confess. I started to speak. I was in the bedroom. My family was in the living room. I started to speak. No one knew I was a witch. No one. Mom had told my dad that the witches were bothering me. My father, who rejects me, had said that the witches were bothering me, but she didn't say it. But I was in the room, crying. I started to confess. They came. I told them that I practiced real witchcraft. And when I said that, there was something that surprised me. There are people who are not Christians, brave people, Buddhist people. We are nourished by love. We are nourished by love. They loved me. They did not stop me. They did not judge me. They started saying to everyone, it's going to be okay. We will find a place where we pray for you to be delivered. While they were telling me that, I heard the voice. It was like all the people I had worked with, whether in my mom's church, in my family's brotherhood, or anywhere else. The group I had worked with, they started talking to me. They started to deceive me. You are going to start your deliverance stories again. You are going to start your deliverance stories again. I couldn't sleep in the room. They sent me to the balcony, to the terrace. When we went to the terrace at night, I would sleep and see my family's brotherhood that had come. They had come, all of them, like soldiers, warriors. You came to kill me. When he arrived, strangely, I left my body. Not voluntarily, but I left. When I went out, I stopped at the balcony, and now that she started screaming, get out, hurry up, we need to leave, hurry up, we need to leave, he's there, hurry up, we need to leave. And I said, I don't want to go with you. We fought. I said, as for me, witchcraft, we don't want to practice witchcraft anymore. You and I, it's over. Today, I made the decision to leave this world of witchcraft. And now I say, well, you always say that. You always say, I'm going to leave, but you never tell me. So well, tomorrow we're going to come get you. She thought I was joking. She left. The next day again, they came back on leave. I said, I will no longer practice witchcraft. I insisted again. I insisted again. I insisted again. I insisted again. We fought again. Now, the last time on the third day she came. She came alone. And this time, she came to kill me. She came with bags and arrows. She told me, get out of your body, get out. I was doing something, but she told me, get out. And I got up, I stopped at the balcony. She told me, come, we are going to leave. As if I were her daughter I lost. I love you, but I didn't want to because I had made my decision. You love me, but I didn't want to because I had made my decision. And he said, I don't know why you want to leave witchcraft. What I saw is that I decided to leave witchcraft. Pray that the Lord, I started to say Jesus. I said, pray that Jesus the Lord shows you this too, so that you leave witchcraft. Because if you stay in it, from what little I've seen, that's where you're going to end up. That I went to cut myself and I was promoted. She launched an arrow. The arrow she launched was inscribed with death. She wanted to kill me. At the same time, because I wanted to leave the society, she wanted to kill me. And at the same time, take the queen's place. And when she shot the arrow, I tell you, the arrow grazed me. And it got stuck in the wall. It went into the wall. And I took the arrow from the wall and threw it. I said, from today onwards, I will never practice witchcraft again. And I returned to my body. I'm telling you, from that day on, I haven't. From that day, since the month of May. But he hasn't seen my tendency until today. Because I had made my decision, I was exhausted. I had made my decision to leave sincerity behind. And on the side of the mermaid, the teachings continued. And it was planned that at the end of this year, at midnight, when we are with our friend, let's say, on January 1st at midnight, I would be underwater and they would consecrate me as a real mermaid. I was going to have a fishtail, my skin. It was going to become like a snake's to collect men's seed. I was going to become a mermaid as an agent of the powerful conscious mermaid. And when I renounced my vow to a church, the presence of the Lord was there. There was fire around. Not too powerful, but in any case, there was fire. And the Lord, by His grace, made it so that every time He visited me at home, I would come to the church, I would sleep at the church, I would hear the voices, but I didn't know where I was. And I went to Bobo, I did everything, I went there. There I still had the spirit of witchcraft. I was struggling. The Lord, by His grace, made something strange happen. I had the spirit of witchcraft. I had all the spirits in my body, but I was no longer practicing. That is to say, the spirits were pushing me, telling me, send yourself, do you love me or not? I didn't do it. I was struggling with the spirits because half of me was in witchcraft, a true place where there was the prayer of my deliverance. I went to a husband's place. I knew they had separated, but it's reassuring. Like my father, I went there for a while to stay with my brothers and sisters. I was watching over them. We're waiting for them to go back to school. Do you see why I went there? My mom told me the church, my mom's pastor, it's a church armed with prayers and deliverance. And there is one of my aunts over there who said, but it's an expensive deliverance. What is your deliverance made of? A church over there? What do you sell your deliverance for? In any case, the Lord makes sure you are delivered. And there was also my uncle who was in the church in collaboration with my mom, who decided to take me to the army of prayers and deliverance. And when I arrived here, at the Carrefour called Sedepo, at Carrefour, I had arrived there, and as soon as we arrived at Carrefour, a force released me like a piece of luggage, something that was inside me. I didn't see any demon or spirit leave, but that's what I felt. And we walked, we came. While I was walking from the crossroads, the Lord was already starting to close my spiritual eyes. He started the deliverance from the crossroads. My eyes began to weaken, they began to weaken. When I arrive in front of the temple church, it's as if I see light, like beams of light rising like walls. I could barricade all the time, even the roofs on the roofs in. The light. And when I entered the courtyard, or when we just walked, the ground was literally on fire. Embers of fire. Fire everywhere. Fire, the flames, the blazes, everything. The house was engulfed in fire. At first, I was afraid to go in. There was a voice that told me again, you didn't come here to do something bad. You came for your divorce. So I am here. I went in. The Lord welcomed us, everything and all. And I made my confession. When I made my confession, at first, I didn't tell the whole truth. I said it, I confessed, but I didn't say everything. Everything I said was true, but I didn't say everything because I didn't see the importance. I told myself that the Lord already knows. So if I don't say everything, He can still deliver me. And when I said half, He gave me a moment of discomfort. On the first day, we prayed. We prayed every time I sat in the room. They looked at the door, and I said to the Lord, Lord, I want you to see that the way I am sitting, you see my heart. I know that I am tired. I want to be delivered. I want to cross through that door you see there. I need to be delivered from the top of my head to the tips of my toes. I don't want a spirit to turn in my body anymore. I want that even when demons see me, they are afraid of me. That was the prayer I made. We prayed, the spirit heals, it manifested, the demons manifested. And the Lord necessarily passed through him to say that He wants me to confess, that He wants me to finish my confession, that He wants me to continue. I continue my confession, and the next day, I put on another mind of God. I made my confession. My confession was about what I had done. I hadn't said what I had done. I had only said that I practiced witchcraft. Only what I had spoiled, but really my appearance, my eyes, there were marks above my body. Signs, lots of demonic things on myself. So that's how it is. I hadn't said. And when I confessed, I freed myself. I repented. On the fifth day, since I was given a sign, on the fifth day, during the first prayer, I was telling the Lord that, Lord, if people go into the room, I want to be totally delivered during the first prayer. I cannot leave the room with a spirit. And when I leave the room, the Lord tells me that He has come to get me. He said that the Lord had led him to me. When he told me that, like a flash, the Lord had directed him to me. When we went, we started to pray. While we were praying, I saw many things. I saw that my aunt, my mom's aunt who had passed away the previous night, was incarnated in me. It was the representation of the spirit of the elevator, because she was at a level, she was a deity. So I saw it jumping. It is the oil that was flowing, jumping from my body. I had the clothes of a truck driver, the clothes of a fetishist that I boasted about tearing apart. Smoke was jumping from my mouth. My lungs were gone. There was a sound flowing over me, but the sound broke, shattered my eyes. They had erased everything, the signs. Many things happened. And then I saw myself. I was lying down. And I would like to have a pretty dress that went from my head down to the tips of my toes. It was at the army of prayer and deliverance that the Lord delivered me. He delivered me from several spirits. The spirit of Pluto, witchcraft, the water siren, the queen of the pots, demons, even the warrior spirit. That means I was to give up a level that I didn't even know. But the Lord, by His grace, has completely freed me. And here I tell you, I am freed, I am delivered, and I feel a joy that I have never felt since my birth. Because the Lord is with me every day. He shows me that He will always be with me. This means that the world of sincerity is a world that truly exists. The world is the mermaid of the waters. The world is the mermaid of the waters. The world is the mermaid of the waters. It exists. It's real. If you want, I can give you an example. There is a cloth called Hadith Sabiba. Many people know this cloth. If you look at this primary and you have this cloth, take the cloth and look at the death. There is a death that is like a circle and has 3 branches. That circle represents the circle of the mermaid of the waters. If you want, come to the hand of prayer. Come to the hand of prayer. The girls who have received deliverance will tell you the same thing. Pray. Ask the Lord to open your eyes. He will show you. It's the circle she catches. That's where its power is. There are several malfunctions that have codes. When I recognize, when I see, there are many malfunctions like that. The breakdowns you see with circles of pyramids. These are pyramids, they represent formations, all that. There are many things. So when we talk about the deployment, it's true and it's done. And not just physical disentanglement, but also disentanglement on the inside. Because when you disentangle yourself physically, when you disentangle yourself on the inside, a witch, a sister can still attack you. Because it's not enough to just disentangle the physical, but also to disentangle the heart. Anger is a weapon. It's a simpler weapon. In the world of witchcraft, in the world of the water siren, it's a very powerful weapon, a very powerful soul. The only time you put your hands on your head, it's as if you are giving permission to the mermaid of the waters to enter your life. All the people who use ointments, perfumes, even those who sell them in front of every store selling ointments, perfumes, earrings and vines, there is a mermaid standing there. And she is the one who attracts the customers. When I walked past the stores, all the ointment stores I saw mermaids that were stopped. The mermaids that were stopped. And it is they, spiritually, who attracted the women. They are the ones who attracted people. If you see a store selling ointments or perfumes that is very successful, it means there are sirens there. There are sirens there. And they are the ones who attract the customers, who push the customers to buy. So every time you apply the ointment, it's a door you open. Every time you apply the ointment, it's like codes. They use it to enter your life, to attack you. They were doing anything. She can do anything you want. I know that you even sell ointments, perfumes, and zenithus. You are an agency. You work for the mermaid, but you don't know it. Many women who sell ointments and perfumes make sirens and costumes, but they don't know. In the world of others, they have mermaids and fish, but they don't know. All this means that this world is a real world. It's a world that truly exists. The only one who can save, who can set free, is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He alone. He alone can deliver. When He created us, my brothers, my sisters, all the people watching us, those who will read this testimony later, this is a message I leave for you. When the Lord created us, He didn't put, if He wanted us to have long hair, He would have given it to us. Because He is the God who can do everything. If He wanted us to have colored hair, He would have given it to us. If He wanted us to wear heels, to be above us, He would have given them to us. But if He didn't give them to us, it's because He loves us as we are. But every time you put on a wig to walk your body, you are no longer recognized. Your spiritual aspect changes. When you die, the Lord will not recognize you because that is not how He created you. This is not how He created you. All women who are bleaching their skin, please stop doing it. You regret doing it. Because when you depigment yourself, you change your skin. In the spiritual world, you become another person. You become a person. The women are so depigmented. When you see the veins in the spiritual world, many of them become like snakes, crocodiles. They transform in spirit. The siren embodies them. I am telling you the truth. I am telling you the strict and genuine truth. The facts of using everything that has remained natural. Remain natural. The Lord does not need all these instruments. All these instruments, these weaves, this format, all that to watch. The Lord doesn't need that. He only needs you to stay simple and natural. Naturally, I'm speaking to you. I have a joy in my heart that I have never felt in my entire life. Never. And I tell you the truth, even if I were given everything, to return to that world, back there in the natural world, I was very rich. I had power. I was rich. I had everything I wanted. But even if they gave me all the money in the world, I tell you the truth, you don't stay in this world forever. Never. Because I know where the Lord has taken me from and where He is going. The way He will make it happen. Where He will place me. I will always be grateful. The message I can give you is that the spiritual world exists. The world of witchcraft and the water mermaid truly exists. Give your life to Jesus. He is the one and only who can free you from those spirits. In the name of Jesus, may the Lord bless you. Amen. You have been blessed, inspired, and transformed by this testimony. You too face challenges of all kinds. You need deliverance, transformation, and restoration. You need to be healed from an illness that you know is caused by evil spirits. Call us at the Church of Prayer and Deliverance in Jesus Christ. More at 125 0749 2489 92 050 477 0470. Church of Prayer and Deliverance in Jesus Christ, West Africa, Ivory Coast, Abidjan, Cocody, and Jesus Christ will transform your story with a touch of love. God bless you. Don't forget to share this testimony. Someone else certainly needs it. See you soon.